And we're live.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know where to find us. I'm sure you guys probably seen these lying around somewhere in the city. You guys know where to check us out. Hopefully you guys are watching us on YouTube, checking out our Facebook page, seeing Skip on Dougie J's on Twitter.
Yep.
Where else can they find you, Skipper?
SimonBroder.com. You can always buy my book on that website.
That's
Check
right.
out my Twitter and check out my Facebook as well.
That's right, that's right. So, Skip,
Yeah.
you know what's going on? Apparently,
Tonight. What's going on tonight? Let's not
apparently,
forget about this.
Raptors fans, I think you guys are aware of this. A certain person is returning to the city to collect their ring. To be the champion. To accept that championship
Green?
ring.
Danny Green?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah. Danny
Yeah,
hasn't
he's
got his
coming
ring
soon,
yet. I feel
coming
bad
soon.
for Danny, man. He hasn't got his
Coming
ring yet.
I don't know. It's some guy that laughs hilariously. You guys know him as Kawhi Leonard. You guys know him as the Claw, number 2, out there playing for the Los Angeles Clippers. You guys
don't
know.
say that. Don't say
You
it
guys
like
know
that.
the story. I know it hurts you guys, but at least you guys got to show a little bit of love because of what he brought to the city and what he brought to the country and what he brought for you guys. Brought you all that enjoyment throughout the year despite the load management, even though it's like, how many games do you play? Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
The shot, it's the shot, and then it's the ring. It's weird. That's the order. It's the
Exactly.
shot first, and then the ring. But still, I mean, what can you complain about? He did his job.
How do you feel about it, Skip?
How do I feel? Well, I'm excited. I've been excited to see him come back.
Are you going to be watching it?
Of course I'm watching. Of course I'm watching. Got to get his ring. They got to do this big pregame ceremony. He's obviously going to get a standing O. What else would you
Yeah,
expect?
the game starts at 7. They say you guys got to be in your seats by 6:45.
What I want to know is how he's going to play tomorrow night.
Ooh.
Because if I
Ooh.
remember, he played pretty badly when he went to San Antonio and he heard all those boos last year.
Emotionally fragile, I guess you could say.
Well,
But
I wouldn't quite say emotionally fragile. I would just say, I think if there's a weakness to Kawhi, it's maybe you get under his skin just somewhere in that emotional area where maybe he comes back, he sees his old friends, he doesn't quite have the edge. I don't know. I mean, maybe he goes out and he drops 40 and it's just game over. But
It could be one or the other. It could be like he underperforms or he overperforms.
I think the Raptors will hold him in check a little bit.
That's the question I want to ask you, Skip. How do you think, despite him coming, good for him, you won your championship, your second, your 2 finals
Yeah.
MVPs, you got all that stuff. Yeah, good for you. Great. You went home, see your family, great. How do you think, for us here at home, the Toronto Raptors are going to deal with that situation?
So I go back to something Fred VanVleet said when people were interviewing him after the championship and saying, well, how will you feel if Kawhi leaves? And he said, I want him to stay, but if he leaves, we're just going to have to kick his ass. And we got to understand that tomorrow night is going to be the biggest game of the Raptors season.
So far.
They're going to want to go out and they're going to want to kick his ass. And this time it's not the second night of a back-to-back. It's not on the road. It's not in the West Coast.
And he had load management last game, so...
Well, he's rested. He knows what's coming. But I think the Raptors are going to go after him. I mean, based on how they've been playing the last week, I don't know if they're going to win tomorrow night. But I think they're going to really show up for that game. I think they're going to play hard from the jump. I think they're going to really attack Kawhi and make Paul George beat them, which he definitely can do. And
Yeah, because other players have beaten him, but we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah. And Norman Powell actually said after the game last night, like, it's kind of closure. Like, we just got to get it over with because he's moved on, we've moved on. Let's just wrap this thing.
It's like
And
a bad breakup.
tomorrow night is the night that it all ends. And so in a way, like, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night, or tonight. I mean, when you're watching this, it'll be tonight. Right now it's tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Twisting myself in circles here.
Tonight, the game. Yeah, we're both looking forward to this because you know what? What I wanted to talk to you about was it's basically the way the Raptors have been going. How's your week, Skip?
I've had an interesting week. I've had an okay week, I guess.
Yeah.
Got some bad news, got some good news,
I haven't had a good week. I'm only had bad news. Just like the Toronto Raptors.
Nice
so
thing.
the way they've been going through it, they're 1-3 right now.
Yep, 1-3 in their last 4 games.
Yes, the last 4 games since last week Sunday.
Since the
Tuesday.
Utah game, so they lost to
They beat Utah, but then they went to go play.
Miami.
They played Miami. They played Houston here, both the games at home. Then they went on the road. They played against Philly, and then they had the back-to-back against the night after against the New York Knicks, and they won.
Bulls,
but again,
the Bulls.
the Bulls. Sorry,
Bulls.
might as well
One
be.
of those crappy.
It's
Eastern
still a
Conference
garbage
teams.
Eastern Conference team. That's where they got their win. They had to play 3 very strong teams.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what do you think about them losing to those 3 very strong teams? What do you think are the key factors? Like, if there was different players, or if it was the Raptors' fault, or if it was their fault? Like, what do you think about this?
I think there's a lot that goes into this losing streak. I mean, it's over now with the barely scraped out a win against the Bulls last night, which is embarrassing. Embarrassing win, to be honest. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that 3-game losing streak. First of all, they played 3 very good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Very dynamic teams.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that really do things to the Raptors that the Raptors do to other teams, especially Miami and Philly. Really come at you defensively, really get into the Raptors and force them into the turnovers that they were forcing other teams into. So on some level, you can understand a little bit of a rough stretch. Like
And some of those teams are looking for contention.
Well, yeah, those are contenders, for sure. So you could say, okay, so the Raptors lost to 3 good teams, but they lost 2 of those games at home, and you sort of say, like, yeah, maybe you go 2-1 or 1-2. Like, 0-3, that's a little bit of a rough stretch, and then you back it up with the Chicago game that they practically lost, and that's really a team that seems to have hit a bit of a fork in the road, and not a fork in the road, like just a slow patch. And then there's the factor of that was Lowry and Ibaka's first and second game back.
Yep.
That streak started.
And Lowry didn't do that well in his first game.
So Lowry has a terrible shooting night against Miami, which is okay. That happens.
2 for 18.
Like, it was really bad, and if he makes 1 or 2 of those shots.
But he just came back from injury.
Yeah, but you can't really blame too much on Lowry. But then you sort of wonder, like, maybe something got shuffled in the dynamics of the team. You bring in a new guy to lead the horse after Van Vliet and Siakam have been doing really well. So then there's the question of whether maybe there needed to be more done to integrate Lowry and Ibaka back into what they were already doing, because what they were doing while those guys were out is they were running the ball down people's throats. And
I agree with you.
But I think so this is
I agree with you, but I want to get into that in a second, right? I want to get into the reason why I think so.
Okay.
But in a bit. But with this last skid, like, the Raptors so far from the beginning of the season, every contending or good team that should be up there, the Raptors have been holding their star players pretty low. Like, okay, Butler had a triple-double against them. Fine. Okay, but he only scored 22 points. He didn't go that far off. You know, Westbrook had a triple-double, but that was only 19 points. Harden only scored 23 points. He only went 3 for 5 from the free throw line, which, don't get me started on him trying to beg for fouls, right? Ben Simmons was 1 assist shy of a triple-double. New York, oh yeah, there's no superstar there.
Chicago.
They might as well be New York. It doesn't matter to me. So, but with the Raptors holding down these star players, but still finding ways to lose, do you think other players on these teams have come out to play and show up the Raptors?
So I think this kind of gets back to the point I was not quite finished making, which is that with Lowry and Ibaka out, everyone was really trying their best. Everyone was really kind of being this bench mob who would really attack teams and grab them by the throat and throw them on the ground. And I think once Lowry and Ibaka come back, the bench guys kind of scaled back their minutes. They stopped taking that initiative. Maybe everyone kind of relaxes a bit and says, okay, you can take charge. And so when you get these 3 teams come in, all with star players, and you try and run that same scheme, which is doubling the star, getting the ball out of his hand, and then rotating to shooters, making sure that no one makes open shots, suddenly you get that just kind of a sagginess to that, where you're still doubling the star, you're still doing a great job of getting the ball out of his hands, but suddenly, it's first of all, it's a good team, but second of all, like, they're whipping the ball around the court, and then you got the great shooter wide open in the corner, and no one's chasing him off the line. Like, so against Miami, you get Duncan Robinson, goes off for
surprise
22 points. I mean,
that kick a ball.
That's not a name that you hear a lot, but like, he's a great shooter. You can't leave him open. And the Raptors were consistently leaving him open that game. And then you go to Houston. They had Ben McLemore and Daniel House. Both went off 18, 16 points respectively. Most of those were wide open threes. Ben McLemore, he's a nobody, but when he plays, what he does is he's a spot-up shooter. You can't leave him wide open. Same with Daniel House. Like, you gotta close out on that guy. And then you go to the Philly game even, and the Raptors shut down Embiid. Simmons went off a little bit in that game, which was a little weird. That's actually the best I've ever seen Simmons play against the Raptors.
He was 16, 11, and 9.
No, but just in terms of how he played, that was the best I've seen Simmons against the Raptors.
Okay.
But it wasn't Embiid that killed him. It was Matisse Thybulle making 20 points on a bunch of open threes. It was Tobias Harris. I mean, obviously Tobias Harris is going to get his points.
He can play.
But like, why are you leaving this Thybulle kid wide open for threes constantly when he's making them? And it's because they're doubling Simmons, they're doubling Embiid, and they're not scrambling to get back to these open shooters. And maybe that's just it's a tough scheme the Raptors are playing, right? Like, they're playing really, really hard, and I don't know if you can do that for 82 regular season games. Maybe we're just getting to the point in the schedule where they need to sort of lay back and just play it like a regular season game, play man-to-man, and then, with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, maybe you double James Harden. With 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you double.
Sure.
That's what they should be doing, because they're aggressive. I like the aggression that they're going for. I totally get it.
It's good to take out the opposing team's star player in the first quarter to get him out of his rhythm.
Yeah.
It's good to, but, like, again, if you're going to do that, it's a gamble. You're taking a risk.
It's a blitz of the quarterback, right?
Exactly.
And if you blitz the quarterback on every play, he's going to know, I just have to get it out. Just have to dump it off, and no one's in coverage.
Yep.
That's all it is. And the Raptors, they do a good job of varying their scheme sometimes, but I just see too much of this doubling, too much of this crazy one scheme, and I just think that might actually work in the playoffs. It's really good that
it is a good scheme in the playoffs, but to keep the wins up during the regular season,
I'll be honest,
necessarily a great idea.
And I'll be honest, first of all, they're playing this really aggressive scheme. Second of all, while Lowry and Ibaka were out, they were playing Van Vliet and Siakam both 40 minutes a game. Now, you can't play those guys 40 minutes a night and expect them to hustle for you on every single play.
Exactly.
So if you're going to play a scheme where you need guys running constantly, then you need to be playing the 30 minutes a game. To be honest, Siakam looks totally exhausted right now. I don't know what happened to his explosiveness. I don't know if it's just that point in the season where he's really going out to the clubs, he's having a good time, he's relaxing. I don't know if it's...
No, okay. Can I talk for a minute, Skip?
Oh, bring it in. Tell me what you got.
So, you just touched upon Siakam, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, loss, 39 minutes. Thursday, loss, 36 minutes. Sunday, loss, 36 minutes. Monday, win, 39 minutes. He is playing pretty heavy. He's playing pretty well, but it's not just him. It's not a microcosm.
He's also running into good defenders, and he's trying to do a little too much against those good defenders.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I believe that he's trying to play very hard. Now that Lowry's back, he's trying to push it. Van Vliet is trying to push it. OG is trying to push it. Hollis is trying to push it. Davis is trying to push it.
That's what Hollis definitely does.
Boucher is trying to push it. But what it seems to me, Skip, is there's only a certain amount of minutes in a game to be played.
Yeah.
I think these guys are pushing themselves a little too hard to earn the minutes instead of playing the all-around game. That's from what I've witnessed watching the games. I'm seeing these guys because Skip.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. How many passes do I say on each possession? At least 4. 3 or 4, right?
4 is a lot. But
you got to spread that ball.
I hear you.
That's the only way you could be a championship contender. You got to pass that ball. Other players are going to make it. Hence, your point about players, no names that none of y'all know about or have heard of before, most of you, they were whooping the Raptors because of all these extra passes. The Raptors, from what I've seen, they were doing a lot of ISO ball, a lot of ISO play, and sorry for you guys that don't know, that means isolation, where it's just one person. They've been doing a lot of that, and it's not becoming successful for them. These guys are trying to rely too hard on themselves than their teammates. And what I think the reason is because with all the contracts coming up, okay, and with all these guys stepping up while you have two integral parts and Kawhi's gone and Danny Green's gone, but it's basically the same guys. These guys are pretty much, the way I see it, hence the green, it seems to me like last year's Boston Celtics, where these guys are going after minutes. They're trying hard. It's not, the last week has not become a team game from what I've seen these guys doing. They're all getting a name. They're all getting a little taste of celebrity. They're all getting a little bit taste of the fame. But they're not putting it together as a team. Skip, can you explain to me why it seems that way?
Well, I think that actually is a really good criticism of Siakam in particular. I think Siakam is getting a little bit, he's hearing his MVP buzz, he's hearing everyone has his name on the scouting report. Yeah, and he's like, all right, I got to be the guy now. I got to step up. I got to force things. I don't really think the rest of the team struggles with that. I think they are kind of trying to play as a team, but what happens is you get into this isolation ball because the Raptors are a transition team. They have to be hustling on defense
to get the transition,
to get layups, to get dunks, to get whatever, open threes in transition. If they're not getting that, then they don't really have an offense. Like, their offense is Siakam posting up the other team's 4, and if the other team's 4 or 5 is Bam Adebayo, then, or Jonathan Isaac, he's in trouble. But if he's posting up,
How do you say that
JJ Redick.
How do you say that name again? Adebayo?
Adebayo. It's not even that hard.
I can't even say it. I'm sorry.
Siakam's harder. No. If he's posting up like JJ Redick, that's a good strategy, but he shouldn't be just doing post-ups against every big in the league. Like, that's got to be something, he's got to be getting those post-ups in a good spot against, you know.
He's got to post, he's got to swing, he's got to be outside.
Well, yeah, and if the defense is set, he's got to swing it out, he's got to, like, and then he started to pull up and jack these threes, which it's like, okay, if you're rolling, you've got 20 points, like, that's good, but, like, don't jack up a 3 when you haven't scored yet. Like, I don't think you're that kind of player. So there's a little bit of that with Siakam, I think. There's a little bit of that star chasing.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the team, it's just fatigue. It's just maybe they're not quite in sync defensively, and they don't really have a great idea how to put things together on offense. Anyway, I think they can get out of it, but I think the bottom line is everyone said that this team was going to fall off drastically with Kawhi leaving. I never thought...
And they haven't.
Yeah, well...
Up until the skid.
I mean, I never thought they were going to miss the playoffs or be an 8 seed or anything. I think before the season I said their ceiling is a 3 seed, their floor is maybe a 5 or a 6 seed.
Right, and right now they're currently in 5.
And right now I feel like that's totally borne out throughout the season. Yeah, they started off 15-4, which is a great start. But they didn't really play anybody. Like, let's be honest. Everyone was saying, oh, their strength of schedule hasn't been that bad.
Who they play that was
Let
big?
me go through those 19 games.
Okay.
I'm not going to count them all off.
No.
But I'm going to say,
give me the big names.
There were 2 signature wins in that stretch. They beat LA, the Lakers, in Los Angeles, and they beat Philly at home. Those were the only 2 really, really tough wins in that stretch. I guess you can throw in the Jazz, but the Jazz don't really look that hot this year. I don't know what's wrong with them.
They seem a little off. We could talk about that.
Yeah, and they were terrible last night too. I don't know. I didn't see the final score, but so that's maybe 3 really good teams you beat. Probably only 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then they beat everybody they were supposed to. They didn't lose a single game to a bad team in that entire stretch. And then here we are. Now they're what? 16-7. Is that right? Yeah, 16-7, I think is right. And they've
it's because
they've lost.
Philly's at 17, they're at 16.
Yeah, so they've lost 3 games to good teams, and they beat Chicago, a bad team. Still haven't lost a game to a bad team. But let's go through the teams that they've lost to. They've lost to
Philly,
the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. So that's Boston, Milwaukee, Philly. And Miami. And
the
then
surprise team.
Yeah, Miami.
The surprise
Miami.
team. I would never have thought that this year. Oh my goodness, Jimmy Butler, keep playing. Sorry, Skip, go on.
And they've lost to 3 of the top 4 teams in the West, which is the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Mavericks. The only top team in the West they've beaten is the Lakers. So,
who is the top
to be
team?
honest, against the top 4 seeds in each conference, they're, off the top of my head, I think 2-6 or something.
They're not doing that well, but
2-7 maybe?
between the elite teams, the teams where if you're going to take the title and put it around your waist and you got to defend it, they're not playing well against the contenders.
Yeah.
I think they need to just try to get every game they can this regular season and swing for the fences in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, and it just means that they're the team that we thought they were all along.
And now
they're probably a 4 seed.
But okay, so based on that, where the Raptors are currently standing, Skip, do you think there needs to be a change? Do you think there needs to be a trade? Do you think something needs to go down to bolster the Raptors? Especially considering they're not considered to be doing that well right now. According to Vegas, according to everybody else, they're not even going to make it to the finals this year. What can they do? Is there a possible trade with all these players that are looming to bolster their offense? And what?
It's tough. It's tough because there's a few different things that go into making a trade, right? And you need to think about what you're giving up in terms of salary,
Longevity, salary.
what you're giving up in terms of talent.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the trade is that puts this team over the top. There's a lot of talk about.
I've heard people talk about Tristan. Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about Tristan Thompson on the Cavs.
Happen.
And rumors that maybe the Raptors are interested. I don't really put too much stock into it, but it's an interesting thought experiment. I mean, he does do one thing that the Raptors don't do, which is rebound.
That is true.
I'll be honest. I've been watching Serge the past few games, and I have not been impressed. He's got really big weaknesses in his games. He can't dribble. He travels on fucking friggin' everything. And he fumbles passes a lot, and he, like, even for a shooter, he's not a great shooter. He's supposed to be an energy guy. He's supposed to be a shot blocker. He does some nice things for you, but you do wonder if maybe Tristan Thompson is an upgrade. I don't even know if he's an upgrade. He might be.
Listen,
a little different, a little bit of a different feel in that spot.
Okay, but what's Tristan Thompson's contract like?
So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I punched it in Trade Machine. Ibaka for Tristan Thompson works. It actually saves the Raptors a little bit of money, but Cleveland can take on the extra money. I think Ibaka makes 23, Tristan makes 18, something like that.
Okay. That was a question of a rhetorical sort.
Yeah.
And Tristan Thompson and Ibaka, they're you could call them veteran players in the league, but again, Tristan Thompson, he's for the Raptors style of play, what you alluded to earlier, which is playing the defense, which leading to the transition.
Yeah.
For the layups, Tristan Thompson does not do well in a system like that. It would be great to have him on this side of the border, right? He would love to be home.
Yeah.
Right? Who wouldn't? Wiggins, I'd rather take Wiggins, but that trade for Tristan Thompson.
Well, I'm not taking Wiggins' contract.
No, I'm not.
That's a whole different thing.
I don't know who was thinking there, but there's a plus side and a minus side, but overall, I don't think that makes any sense for the Raptors. You guys out there that have been saying Tristan Thompson, I've heard some people out there saying that, and it does not compute. It doesn't make sense too much to have him here for what the Raptors need.
Let me actually soft disagree on you there, because I don't think they're going to go and I don't think they're going to get Tristan. But if the trade was Serge for Tristan, I think that might make sense. I think that might be worth a shot, let's say. But the trade's not Serge or Tristan. The Serge is like 2 years older. They're both on expiring contracts. So you're trading an expiring for an expiring. But the Cavs are like, okay, if we're giving you this guy, we want a prospect.
Yeah.
So
you know what?
So what are the Raptors going to throw? They're not going to throw in like an OG and an OB or like...
If you're gonna trade to the Cavs, get Kevin Love.
I don't know if Kevin Love fits on this team at all.
If he were to be on the Raptors,
We need a guy who plays defense, who can scramble. Yeah. I don't think Kevin Love fits at all.
Kevin Love would just have to fit in as that. But that's another thing too. Like with all these players the Raptors have, they're a lot of them are built the same way. A lot of them can play multiple positions, and to have a guy like Kevin Love out there, who's pretty much stuck at either the 4 or the 5.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna have to give somebody up that's younger. But you know what? Maybe you can. Maybe Masai might take a gamble on that and give up one of the younger bucks, such as Hollis, Davis, maybe even OG.
Well, not OG. Hell no on OG. Even Hollis Jefferson, like, he doesn't have a lot of value because he's a free agent at the end of the year, but I don't think the Raptors should be jumping to move Hollis Jefferson. I mean, like Kevin Love, maybe, if you really think he's a difference maker. I want to go back to this Tristan thing. I think...
Really?
So here's what I think.
You're really on this Tristan Thompson thing. Like, what? Really?
If the Cavs will do...
I don't want no Kardashians here.
If the Cavs will do Serge Ibaka and a second rounder for Tristan Thompson, I think, okay. They want a first?
You'd agree with that?
If it's a second rounder. And keep in mind, the Raptors' second rounder is going to be like...
Yeah, garbage. Yeah.
Pretty,
like their first rounder.
Bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a first rounder, no. If it's any roster player above like a Malcolm Miller, no. But Serge for Tristan and like some scrub, I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot on that because I'm not totally enamored with Serge. But then you got to think about the show, man.
I know,
think
right?
About how hungry are you?
I want to be on the show.
Do we want to? Do we really want to?
I'm a chef too.
Do we really want to send How Hungry Are You to Cleveland?
Who's gonna be eating there? Drew Carey.
I mean, at least Danny Green. At least Danny Green's in LA. Like, that's okay. But like, we can't send Serge to Cleveland.
That'll hurt him. I know.
I feel
we gotta
bad.
show him some love.
I feel bad for Serge.
Gotta send him that. Plus, Kevin Love said anyway he wants to go to a contender and he'd prefer to go to Portland. He already said that, but
no, he didn't say he wanted to go to Portland. Portland's not a contender.
Well, he said two things. He said, I want to play for a contender, and he said, I want to go home. Because apparently that's what
I
he
heard
grew
the
up.
Portland thing
Even
was
though his
fake,
dad
but
is one of the beach boys.
I don't know. It wasn't his dad. It wasn't his dad. His uncle.
But same anyway.
Mike Love. Look it up. He's famous.
Well, guess you guys know each other.
Kevin Love, Charles Manson, you know.
Skip, we're getting dark here. Any other trades that you think the Raptors can make? Because there's a lot of people on the market there. Like we were talking last season about even D'Angelo Russell being on the trade block, which recently was said that that's a possibility. There's a lot of other players out there that are on the trade block. Do you think anybody else can come to the Raptors?
Everything has salary considerations. I don't think the Raptors want to take on any long-term salary. I just don't know. I don't know what's out there. I mean, there might be maybe there's a fringe guy, but even then, you look at the Raptors bench. The Raptors bench has been really good over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they have assets.
And I don't really think you want to necessarily consolidate those assets into another player unless that player is a clear upgrade. And I don't know what the clear up. I mean, Covington maybe. Covington would actually be a good pitch. Good fit. I haven't looked into any trades for Covington.
That would be good.
But I know some teams are asking about Covington, and if there was something to make it work, I just don't know what the Raptors want to move off their roster. They're not going to move OG. They're not going to move Siakam. They're not going to move.
Well, they're definitely not moving Siakam.
They're not going to move Van Vliet. I mean,
definitely not. You
keep coming back to the two bigs. They could move one of those bigs for a big salary, but then they need a big back, and then you come back to.
Or they can move their point guard.
What No, they're not. They're not moving a point guard. They're not moving any of their point guards. They're not moving Lowry. They're not moving Van Vliet. I mean, Terrence Davis. Yeah, I think they're just gonna roll with the team as it is. Unless there's some fringe guy they can pick up for a second round pick, I really think they're just going to roll with what they got.
Well, that's what it is. Guys, you let us know who you think, if anybody, the Raptors could trade for. You guys let us know how you feel about the Claw coming back to Toronto to accept his ring tonight, actually.
Yeah, we gotta be watching that game. We'll all be on Facebook together watching that game and talking about that game.
Yep. You guys stay hopeful that the Raptors can actually get rid of the streak, can actually come back over their next however many games to fortify themselves as one of the contenders in the Eastern Conference. So you guys let us know.
I'm calling it 4 seed right now. They're the 4 seed.
He said it. You guys let us know what you think. We need to know what you think. Okay, guys? Make sure you guys know what to do. You guys go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We're taking care of you guys. Enjoy the game tonight, okay? Don't feel no bad ways for Kawhi. Give him some love. Give him some respect. He did something for the city that other people have not been able to do since 1993? 2? Yeah.
93. Come on.
I
Joe
know.
Carter. Mitch Williams. All right. That's enough of this.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, ladies and gentlemen, and
Peace.